Have you ever found yourself in a moment where everything seemed fine, nothing was falling apart, no urgent fires to put out, and yet, instead of feeling safe, you felt unsettled? Like something wasn't quite right. Like peace itself was too quiet, too foreign to trust. Maybe things were finally going well. Your work wasn't overwhelming. Your relationships were steady, and your mind was relatively calm. And still, you felt a strange discomfort in the silence. So you sabotaged it. Maybe you didn't even notice it at first. You procrastinated. You started overthinking. You picked fights with people you care about. You pulled away from opportunities. You told yourself it wasn't the right time, that you weren't ready, that you didn't really want it. But some part of you knew it wasn't about timing. It was about fear. Fear of something you couldn't name. Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." And that includes destroying their own peace. Because for many of us, peace feels like a lie, like a trap, like a place we don't belong. Why? Because we never learned to see peace as normal. If you grew up in chaos, if you were taught love had to be earned, if your nervous system was wired to expect disappointment, then peace feels suspicious, unfamiliar, undeserved. You say you want happiness, but the moment it arrives, you feel the need to shrink, to run, to sabotage. Not because you're weak, but because you've been conditioned to believe that pain is safer than stillness. That struggle makes you worthy. That joy comes at a price. But what if that conditioning is wrong? What if you don't need to suffer first to deserve peace? What if the most radical act of healing is simply allowing yourself to believe that peace is already yours? Before we dive deeper, if this message is already resonating with something inside you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. That way, you'll be the first to know when I share the next piece of insight that might just shift the way you see yourself and the world. You say you want peace. You dream of calm mornings, quiet nights, a life that doesn't feel like a battlefield. But when silence finally arrives, you can't sit with it. It makes your skin crawl. The quiet feels too loud. Your thoughts become too sharp, too fast. You look for something, anything to distract you. Your phone, a task, a person, a memory. Because the stillness doesn't feel like peace. It feels like danger. You crave love. You long to be seen, heard, and understood. You want intimacy, connection, that feeling of finally being safe with someone. But the moment someone gets too close, you flinch, you pull back, you second guess. You start wondering if they're being too kind, too patient, too available. You convince yourself it's not real, that they must want something, or they'll leave eventually, or you'll mess it up anyway. So you push them away before they have the chance to walk away. This is what self-sabotage really looks like. It's not always dramatic or obvious. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, almost reasonable. It's in the "I'll do it later." The "I don't think I'm ready yet." The "they're probably better off without me." It's procrastination that disguises itself as perfectionism. It's doubting opportunities that are already in your hands. It's telling yourself stories that keep you small, not because they're true, but because they're safe. You don't destroy good things because you hate them. You destroy them because some part of you doesn't believe you're allowed to keep them. Think about how many times you've turned away from peace, not because it wasn't real, but because it felt unfamiliar. You're not addicted to drama because you enjoy suffering. You're addicted to it because you understand it. It's what your nervous system recognizes. It's what your inner child learned to expect. Love had conditions. Calm came with consequences. Happiness never lasted, so you stopped trusting it. And here's the truth. This isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility now. You're not broken. You're wounded. There's a difference. That anxious voice in your head isn't your enemy. It's a younger version of you, still trying to keep you safe, still trying to avoid the pain it remembers too well. Still trying to make sense of a world that once taught you, don't get too comfortable, because it'll all be taken away. And so you live in hypervigilance. You become the one who ends things before they can hurt you. You become the one who waits for the bad news, even when there's none coming. You create chaos so that at least you are in control of it. You think you're being cautious, but really, you're just trying to outrun your own tenderness. Carl Jung wrote, "Neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering." That means the anxiety, the overthinking, the self-sabotage, they're not the problem. They're symptoms. They're signs. They your psyche's way of trying to tell you, there's something in here that needs your attention. Something you haven't yet allowed yourself to feel. And here's what makes it even more complicated. The world often rewards your dysfunction. It praises your overachievement, your people-pleasing, your ability to keep it together, even while you're crumbling inside. You get good at pretending, good at surviving. So good, in fact, that you begin to believe the lie that this is just who you are. But deep down, you feel it. Something isn't right. You're not living, you're coping. And eventually, the mask becomes too heavy. The distance between who you are and who you've been pretending to be becomes unbearable. And the question that starts to echo inside you is not, how do I get more peace? But, why don't I believe I deserve peace in the first place? That's where real healing begins. Not by blaming yourself for your patterns, but by gently asking what those patterns have been trying to protect you from. What wound were they built around? What pain they've been holding in the dark, waiting for you to turn inward and finally say, I see you, I'm here now. You're safe. Because the truth is, you can't hate yourself into peace. You can't bully your way into healing. You can't punish your past to fix your future, but you can become aware. You can stop pretending that your sabotaging behaviors are just flaws and start seeing them for what they truly are, survival strategies from a time when you didn't know better. Now you do. So ask yourself, if I've spent years mastering how to hurt myself, what would it look like to begin learning how to protect myself instead?
Carl Jung believed that the most dangerous parts of our personality are not the ones we express but the ones we reject. What you resist persists, he warned. And nowhere is this more true than in the dark corners of the psyche we try to deny, bury, or forget. He called it the shadow. The shadow is not some evil, villainous force hiding in your mind. It's everything you've been taught to hide your anger, your fear, your shame, your needs, your sensitivity, your voice. It's every part of you that was once punished, ridiculed, or dismissed. Over time, you learned to suppress these parts, convinced that keeping them in the dark would make you good, acceptable, safe. But nothing we suppress ever disappears. It festers. It finds other ways to speak. And often, that voice sounds like self-sabotage. You procrastinate not because you're lazy, but because your inner critic whispers that anything you create will be worthless anyway. You ruin relationships not because you don't care, but because your shadow still holds the memory of betrayal, telling you that closeness equals pain. You chase success and then implode right before you reach it, not because you fear failure, but because your shadow insists that you don't deserve happiness you didn't suffer for. Jung wrote, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Let that settle for a moment. The unconscious, the shadow, isn't some mystical abstraction. It's your operating system. It's the scripts you follow without question. It's the pattern you call just the way I am. And unless you turn inward, unless you bring awareness to what's running beneath the surface, you'll keep making the same choices, attracting the same situations, feeling the same pain, and calling it bad luck. But it's not luck. It's unexamined trauma. Most of us walked around haunted by memories we've never named. We carry emotions that never got to speak. Instead of listening, we intellectualize. We tell ourselves, I've moved on. It's in the past. I'm fine. Meanwhile, our shadow is still stuck in that room. That moment, that version of ourselves we had to abandon just to survive. Jung's work wasn't about quick fixes. He wasn't interested in helping people return to a broken version of normal. He saw healing as a process of integration, reclaiming every part of yourself you had to exile. That includes not just your light, but also your darkness. Not just your potential, but your pain. Not just who you aspire to be, but who you've been afraid to acknowledge. So here's the truth no one tells you. The part of you that sabotages peace is not evil. It's wounded. It's still waiting for you to come back and say, you're allowed to exist. You're allowed to be messy. You don't have to earn love by being perfect. Think about it. When was the last time you showed yourself compassion not after achieving something, but while you were falling apart? Your shadow doesn't want to hurt you. It wants to be heard, but hearing it is uncomfortable. Because to do so, you have to admit that you've been living a life shaped not by freedom, but by fear. You have to confront the possibility that you haven't actually been choosing peace v just been avoiding pain. You have to look in the mirror and ask, have I been building a life or managing a survival strategy? And here's where Jung offers something no self-help mantra ever could. Radical responsibility, not guilt, not shame. Responsibility, the courage to say, yes, I was wounded. Yes, I learned to hide. But now, I choose to see. You are not responsible for the wounds you received, but you are responsible for what you do with them now, because your shadow is not just where your pain lives. It's also where your power lives. The anger you buried might be the fire you need to set boundaries. The sadness you dismissed could be the key to deeper empathy. The part of you that feels too much might be the source of your creativity, your depth, your soul. But none of that can come to the surface until you stop treating your shadow like the enemy. As Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. You don't heal by pretending to be above your wounds. You heal by walking back into the places you were hurt this time with awareness, with presence, with compassion. So the next time you catch yourself ruining something good, pause. Instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Ask, what part of me is still hurting? Instead of saying, why do I always do this? Try, which forgotten version of me is still trying to protect me? Because self-sabotage is not a flaw. It's a language. And once you learn to translate it, you stop fearing your inner world end. Start transforming it.
If you've ever found yourself pushing away peace the moment it starts to arrive, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not broken. What you're experiencing isn't irrational behavior. It is the byproduct of emotional conditioning that started long before you ever had the words to explain it. Let's go back. As children, we don't learn love by reading books or listening to lectures. We learn it through experience, especially from those closest to us. If love was given inconsistently, conditionally, or only when you were good, you began to associate love with performance. If you had to be quiet to avoid punishment, helpful to earn attention, or perfect to feel accepted, then deep down, you learned a dangerous equation. I am only worthy if I suffer, serve, or sacrifice. This is how a false belief system begins. I must earn peace. I must pay for joy. If I rest, I am lazy. If I feel happy, I'm vulnerable. If I succeed, something bad must follow. These beliefs are often so deeply ingrained that we don't even realize we have them. They become invisible assumptions, shaping how we interpret the world and ourselves. So when peace shows up in your adult life, it doesn't feel safe. It feels suspicious. You might think, this can't last. Or worse, I don't deserve this. This is why so many people unconsciously recreate chaos, even when they say they want stability. Because chaos feels familiar. And the human nervous system, above all else, craves what is familiar, not necessarily what is good. If you were raised in tension, unpredictability, emotional highs and lows, then that's what your body recognizes as normal. Peace, ironically, triggers anxiety not because it's bad, but because it's unfamiliar, and what is unfamiliar is interpreted as unsafe. This is why we often feel deeply unsettled in healthy relationships. Why we distrust kindness. Why we expect betrayal even when there's no sign of it. Because part of us is still trying to prepare for the worst. We armor ourselves against a war that no longer exists, but the body doesn't know that yet. The mind is still trying to protect us using old strategies for new situations. It's heartbreaking, and it's deeply human. The saddest part? Most people will go their whole lives without questioning these patterns. They'll believe that anxiety is who they are. That self-sabotage is a personal flaw. That inner peace just isn't for them. But none of this is true. What's true is that they were never taught to feel safe in peace. They were taught that peace is earned only after pain, so it makes sense, doesn't it? You get close to peace, and your nervous system sounds the alarm. This is too easy. It's not real. Something bad is coming. You start to self-sabotage, not because you want pain, but because you've never learned how to exist without it. Pain has become your emotional home, and stepping outside of it feels like exile, not freedom. You may not even realize you're doing it. You cancel plans with people who make you feel seen. You delay creative projects that bring you joy. You stay in relationships that drain you because struggle feels more honest than ease. You avoid moments of stillness because the silence forces you to hear a voice. You've been running from your entire life. You are enough even now. But if you were never told that as a child, if you only received attention when you achieved something, solved someone's problem, or silenced your needs, then hearing that voice now feels impossible to trust. This is why reparenting yourself is such an essential part of healing. It means gently, consistently showing up for the younger version of you who never got to experience unconditional safety. It means reminding yourself that peace isn't a prize to be earned. It is your natural state. It means letting go of the belief that pain is proof of worthiness. You are not a machine built for production. You are a soul built for presence. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He believed that most neurosis arises not from weakness, but from a misalignment between the life we are living and the life our soul longs for. When we betray our inner truth to meet outer expectations, we suffer. When we reject stillness in favor of striving, we lose connection with ourselves. But here's the truth. Peace is not an achievement. It's a birthright. And the moment you stop trying to deserve it, you begin to embody it. The shift happens not in grand gestures, but in small, radical acts. Resting without guilt, saying no without apology, receiving love without suspicion. It's choosing softness where you used to tense up, choosing slowness where you used to rush, choosing compassion for yourself in moments where shame used to win. These are not easy choices. They require you to rewire everything you thought you knew about love, safety, and worth. They demand presence, patience, and a willingness to sit with discomfort, especially when that discomfort comes from realizing how long you've lived without peace. But you're not behind. You're not too late. You're right on time. Peace is not far away. It's not out there waiting for you. It's already within you, quiet, still, waiting to be remembered. And maybe, just maybe, all that's required now is for you to stop believing the lie that you must suffer first to feel it. What if peace isn't something you have to earn? What if it's not a destination you reach after checking every box, healing every wound, proving yourself over and over again? What if peace is not a reward, but a return? A return to what you've always been beneath the fear, beneath the programming, beneath the shame. We live in a world that glorifies the climb. Do more, fix more, become better, hustle harder. We're taught that peace is a luxury, something reserved for those who've sacrificed enough, produced enough, achieved enough. So we spend our lives climbing an invisible ladder, believing that the next accomplishment, the next relationship, the next breakthrough will finally bring us the rest we crave. But here's the truth. Peace is not found at the top of a mountain. It's found at the center of your being. It's not something you earn. It's something you remember. Because peace is not foreign to you. It's not unnatural. It's your original state, the state you were born into before the world told you who to be, how to act, and what parts of yourself to hide. Carl Jung understood this better than anyone. He didn't believe healing was about becoming perfect. In fact, he warned against it. You are not here to be perfect, Jung said. You are here to be whole. Wholeness means embracing every part of yourself, not just the polished, Instagram-worthy moments, but also the messy, wounded, hidden parts. It means turning toward the shadow, not away from it. Not to shame it or fix it, but to understand it, to listen to it. Because healing doesn't happen by rejecting your darkness. It happens by integrating it. This is the path of individuation, the core of Jung's psychology. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about reclaiming who you were before the world told you to split yourself in half. The child who laughed too loudly. The teen who cried too easily. The part of you that felt things too deeply, that asked too many questions, that needed too much, that loved too hard. All of those parts still live inside you. They never left. You just learned to exile them because someone, somewhere, made you feel like they were too much or not enough. So now, peace feels distant. Because you're not at peace with yourself. You're at war with the unhealed stories that live in your body. But you don't have to keep fighting. You can stop running. You can stop numbing. You can stop pretending that the path to peace is outside of you, because it's not. It's been within you this entire time, waiting patiently for you to stop striving and start remembering. Remembering who you were before you became who the world needed you to be. This is what it means to awaken. Not to some spiritual high, not to some perfect version of yourself, but to the simple, profound truth that you were never broken to begin with. You were simply fragmented, disconnected, disoriented, and now, it's time to come home. Coming home to yourself means being willing to feel what you've avoided, to listen without judgment, to hold space for your own complexity. It means choosing compassion over condemnation, curiosity over criticism. It means saying, yes, I've hurt. Yes, I've made mistakes. Yes, I've hidden, but I'm here now. And I'm learning how to be with myself. That's the beginning of real peace. Not silence on the outside, but stillness on the inside. The kind of stillness that says, I no longer need to prove anything to be worthy of love. The kind of stillness that whispers, I can rest now not because I've earned it, but because I'm human. This journey is not linear. It won't be clean. Some days you'll feel powerful, and others you'll feel like falling apart. That's okay. Wholeness is not about constant strength. It's about radical honesty. It's about allowing yourself to be fully human, light and shadow, strength and softness, clarity and confusion. And when you start showing up to your life from this place, everything shifts. Because the more you accept your inner world, the less power the outer world has over you. You stop needing validation. You stop chasing approval. You stop outsourcing your worth to what others think, feel, or say. You become anchored not in perfection, but in truth. And that truth is this: peace is your nature. You've just forgotten. So today, let this be your turning point, not the day you became perfect, but the day you stopped abandoning yourself. The day you chose presence over performance, wholeness over hustle, peace over punishment. Let this be the beginning of your return. Because the life you're looking for isn't somewhere far away. It begins the moment you decide you no longer need to earn your right to exist. You are already enough. You are already worthy. You are already whole. You just have to remember. You don't need to fight for peace. You just need to stop fighting yourself. Let that settle. For so long, you've believed that inner peace was something you had to earn. It was a prize at the end of some exhausting journey. That once you were healed enough, strong enough, disciplined enough, then you could finally rest. But maybe, peace doesn't come when you reach some distant destination. Maybe peace begins the moment you stop waging war on your own being. All the overthinking, the self-doubt, The second guessing, it's not because you're broken. It's because you were taught that safety comes from control, that love comes with conditions. That calm is suspicious unless it's been paid for with pain. But that's a lie, a generational wound, a cultural conditioning, not a truth. So I'll ask you this, gently but directly. What would your life look like if you believed you deserved peace? Not someday, not when you're better, but now. Would you breathe more deeply? Would you let yourself rest without guilt? Would you stop apologizing for your softness? Would you stop hustling for your worth? Would you finally allow love in not because you've earned it, but because you're human and that is enough? It's a radical question, and it changes everything. Because once you realize that peace isn't something you need to fight for, that it is already yours, you begin to move differently. You begin to be different. Not as someone constantly trying to measure up, but as someone remembering who they were before the world taught them to forget. This doesn't require a grand transformation. You don't have to quit your job, move to the mountains, or meditate for 10 hours a day. It starts small, subtle, gentle. It starts by listening to your pain without judging it. That voice in your head that says you're not enough? Get curious, don't silence it. Ask where it came from. Ask whose voice it really is. Ask what it's been trying to protect you from. That anxiety in your chest. Instead of numbing it, breathe with it. Let it speak. Let it soften. That part of you that keeps sabotaging love, success, peace. Don't shame it. Don't exile it. Sit with it. Ask what it needs. Ask what it's afraid of. This is how healing begins, not with aggression, but with attention. Because what you give attention to, you give dignity to. And the parts of you that you've spent years running from are not trying to ruin your life. They're trying to protect the most tender, most human, most sacred parts of you. You just have to stop fighting them. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to witness yourself. To show up for your life with a kind of presence that says, I am here, I am listening, I will not abandon you again. And when you begin doing that, when you stop demanding perfection and start honoring wholeness, something miraculous happens. Your nervous system begins to relax. Your soul begins to trust you again. Peace no longer feels foreign, it feels familiar. Because it is. You were born in peace. And though the world tried to make you forget it, your body remembers. Your heart remembers. And if you're still here, if you're still listening, it means some part of you is ready to remember too. So start small. Take a walk without your phone. Take one deep breath before you respond. Sit in silence for 5 minutes without trying to fix anything. Look in the mirror and say, I don't have to earn peace. I am allowed to feel it now. And when the fear comes, and it will just notice it, thank it, but don't follow it. You are no longer the child who had to prove their worth to survive. You are no longer the person who needs to shrink to feel safe. You are no longer at war with yourself. You are becoming someone new, or more accurately, someone ancient, someone whole, someone at home in their own skin. And no one can take that away from you, because it was never given to you by the world in the first place. It was always yours. So as we end this journey, let me offer you one last question. One that you can carry with you long after the screen fades to black. What would it feel like to live as if peace wasn't a finish line, but a frequency you could choose right here, right now in this breath? Let that be your practice. Let that be your prayer. And most of all, let that be your promise to yourself. No more fighting, no more shrinking, no more self-punishment disguised as discipline. Just you, as you are, enough, at peace. If this message spoke to something deep within you, don't just scroll away. Take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next awakening insight I share. And I'd love to hear from you. What part of this video resonated with you the most? What truth did you need to hear today? Drop it in the comments. Your words might just be exactly what someone else needs to read to begin their own healing journey. We're all waking up together. Let's keep walking this path, one breath, one truth, one video at a time.